kind of give a little backstory to this question. A couple years ago, I did an email interview with Vic Kenyon, which was the original bassist, obviously.
I hung out with him last night.
Oh, you did? Cool. Wow. Okay, well, this makes a little more sense. But there's a couple things he revealed in the interview that we'd never really heard ever before, which is the point of doing it. But he said that Davey originally wanted to name the band Bananas in the Rough. Can you confirm what the name of that? I asked Davey about it, but do you remember that at all?
I don't remember that.
No. Do you remember the naming process at all, or was it just kind of a?
I don't. I mean, if there was more of a process and it was happening, you know, not outside of me, the plan to like that, the band was kind of created before I was involved. Like Victor and Mark and Davey had decided that was just rad, should be in a band. So they knew they were going to join a band. When they were thinking about drummers, they knew that I drums, so they came to me. I remember. So maybe they had a conversation about that stuff before it got to me.
In the interview, he revealed that your original demo was done by David Ray.
Yeah.
And Davey, when I talked to him 2 years ago in the interview, he said that there was 2 original demos, not just one, which we didn't realize. And what do you remember about those demos? Like, do you remember if all those songs made it to an EP, or can you remember any of these songs from those demos?
Nobody's ever heard those demos.
Nobody has.
And
You should.
I mean, we started the band and we recorded the demo 1 month later.
Yeah.
I started playing drums a month before. You know, it's like we didn't know what we were doing, and that's kind of what was rad. We were so naive. We thought, well, why wouldn't we go to the studio and record something? You know, I think if any point of the way we stepped back and realized how awful we were, that might have actually been a bad thing, because we might have been less ambitious and more concerned. Yeah. Those demos were fun. They sounded like shit.
Were they covers or originals, or both?
I think they were all originals. I think we might have recorded California Rarities by Dead Kennedys. It's awful. You don't want to.
I know. Well, I asked because I tracked down David Ray and I actually talked to him on the phone, which is because I wanted to find out all this, whatever.
That's Monty Rate's brother.
Yeah. Because you were friends with A. Ray. I'm assuming. Yeah, that's what he said. But it's funny that he said. I asked him. I was like, "Is there any way to get a hold of those demos?" And he was like, "No, unless you're Adam or David or whatever." And I was like, "But I asked him if he still had them. He has the reels and everything."
I know. As a matter of fact, I heard, and I don't know if it was through you or somehow I heard that when the story came to me, I heard that he had the reels still and was making copies for people, and so I was like, oh shit, and I called him and I'm like, David, what's going on? And he's like, I wouldn't do that.
No, I asked, and he was like, no, or whatever. No, he was nice about it, but I was like, okay. And then I asked Davey, and Davey was like, no, no chance.
Yeah, it's just, it's pulling the curtain too far.
I know.
It's just not cool.
We're just nerds, and we just want to, try to archive some history, but that's fine. We understand that.
I wouldn't even play for Hunter.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't even want to hear.
Yeah.
There you go. A reasonable answer.
Well, Hunter, of course, you were asked to join AFI back in 1997 after Try Nothing was recorded. What can you tell us about the day when they asked you to permanently join AFI?
Okay, let's see what I remember. We were on our way back from the tour, or right at the end of the tour, and
it was a tour that you did with the Force.
Yeah, it was like AFI and the Force, and I've been doing 2 sets every night. And it was like maybe right after the Force left to go home, and there was 1 AFI show left, and we played with Shelter.
Yeah.
In
Philadelphia.
Is it in Philadelphia?
At the Cadillac Cafe.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. And I remember I was borrowing somebody's bass maybe for some reason, or he wasn't playing my bass. And there's a brick wall on stage. So I just remember thinking like, oh god, I hope I don't like slam into this brick wall with this bass that's not my bass. And let's see what else I remember. I just remember being like, oh, this is really cool. I definitely need to like think this over.
So it wasn't like yes, because you were in a band, obviously, right? So,
Yeah.
So it was. Or that was one of my follow-up questions. Like, was it an easy decision? Like, was the aura of AFI and where they were headed? Was that in the air, or was it still like, oh, they're just another band? You know, join this band. You know, was there popularity? Was there kind of an aura of like, this is going to get big?
Well, I mean, they were already big.
Okay.
Like bigger than any band that I have been in,
that's what.
And certainly within like that scene, like the biggest band.
Okay.
And I didn't think beyond that. Like, I was thinking like, okay, well, how's this going to affect the force? How is it going to affect, you know, my job, school, all these other things that I was like trying to juggle and manage. But then on the other hand, it's like, well, get to tour, get to play music, get to do what I want to do. So it was like I kind of had to sort of make a leap, I guess.
Yeah.
And it was a little like I had to quit my job, which was fine.
Yeah.
And I didn't continue school at all. And things were a little rough with the force at first. I ended up giving them my consent to like find somebody to fill in for me when I wasn't available. But then, you know, here we are. So
Yeah.
And then I've seen rumors that you paid $666 to Tread Your Mouth.
That's true. It was.
That's
I asked for
awesome.
that, not specifically. I feel like you guys were offering me like $600. Oh, sorry.
No worries.
I think you guys offered me like $600, and I was like, well, what about 666?
Okay, but not a dollar more.
Yeah.
Will there ever be an outlet, do you guys think, for unreleased songs? I know recently we've conversed with you and that guy selling that demo or EP on eBay for $7,000 so we can listen to the view from here.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, and so like, would there ever be an outlet for that? And, like the way to words, things like that.
The problem is that these days the labels need so much extra material. You know, like if you put out a record in iTunes in the US and then you put out a record in, you know, the same record in Australia wants an extra track. So everything we record ends up getting used. And it used to be awesome when you recorded a record and you'd have 3 or 4 extra songs and you could kind of hang on to them and then do what you want with them, put out EPs and stuff. But nowadays there's nothing we record that doesn't get heard except for those 2 songs. You know, The View From Here is a good song, and maybe someday there'll be something we can do with it. Weight of Words, there was a reason why we didn't release it. I mean, it's not a bad song, but like, I'm sure if everybody heard it, they'd be like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It's also a weird thing, like in the past when we had the luxury of recording like way too many tracks, and only 12, 13 would go on the record, we would have, you know, we'd have to make that decision, what's the record? So we'd all vote, and everyone would vote on their favorite songs, and the favorite songs would go on the record, and basically the ones that were not the favorite songs would be the ones we'd hold over for the special things. And those would always end up getting so much more attention from fans and outside of them. But it's strange because those are the ones we picked to not go on the record, you know? It's like, those didn't make the cut.
Yeah, like Rabbits or Roadkill was on record. And in hindsight, that should have been on Singing Sorrow. I think at the time we were sequencing Singing Sorrow and it felt like it wasn't, there were too many mid-tempo songs. So I can't remember what we replaced it with, but like that song I think has held up better than some of the album tracks.
Yeah. So with Rabbits Roadkill, was that re-recorded for the MySpace compilation or whatever, or did you have it recorded?
We had recorded it for Sing Sorrow, and then we used it for.
So you didn't
MySpace.
re-record it?
No.
Oh, okay.
It was kicking around.
Okay.
On Burials, Jade and Dave are listed as the songwriters on the album, but if you look on BMI, which for our readers, listeners, is one of the organizations that distributes royalties to songwriters, all 4 of you are listed. So we were wondering,
why our personal inner band business information.
Well, no, it's like,
were there any major changes that changed that? I mean, not that if it's too personal, that's fine. Like it's something we've noticed.
Yeah. No, I mean it's a bit personal, but it's I mean the BMI stuff is sort of like our collective band songwriting. What'd you call that? Affiliate or I know we have a couple. We know it's like ex Noctem Massacre is present day AFI. When Mark was in the band, it was just me, Mark, and Davey. Briefly before Hunter was in the band, it was like asking for it or something, and then before that it was Anthems for Insubordinate. So like as members have changed, we sort of created these, sort of groupings. Yeah.
So now I'm curious, you just said asking for it and Anthems for Insubordinates. There have been times when members of the band said that was never the name of AFI. Is that just something?
It was the name of our BMI.
It was the publishing company.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the band.
Clever.
What's that?
Being clever, like.